respected elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For all our marhumin, can we recite Surah Al-Fatiha? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سيدي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، قال الله في محكم كتابه الحكيم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ذلك ومن يعظم شعائر الله فإنها من تقوى القلوب. صدق الله العلي العظيم. When we look at our ziyarah books, our dua books, our traditions, we notice that the number of ziyarahs for Sayyidi wa Mawlai Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam is many. As in, when you look at, for example, Mafatih al-Jinan, authored by Sheikh al-Qummi, we notice that when it comes to the ziyarah of the third Imam, there are a numerous ziyarahs. Whereas normally you will see when it comes to the ziyarahs of other Imams or other infallibles, there's probably 2, 3 or 4 ziyarahs. When it comes to the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, they are in their tens. As in, throughout the year you will notice there are special ziyarahs, and we are recommended to do the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein on many different dates throughout the year. In tonight's lecture, and surely of course the ziyarah of the Ahlul Bayt is one of the signs of Allah, Sha'airullah. Therefore, in tonight's lecture, we will try and look at this sign of Allah, this sha'ir of Allah, that of the ziyarah, of the shrines of the Ahlul Bayt, and specifically the shrine of Imam al-Hussein. And we will try and look at the following points. Firstly, we will look at ziyarat al-qubur, the visiting of graves. Is this allowed in Islam or not? Then secondly, we will briefly look at the building of a structure on top of a grave, known as the shrine. Thirdly, we will look at the many ziyarahs of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam and the merits of these ziyarats, specifically ziyarat al-Arba'in. Fourthly, we will look at why the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt encourage their followers to go for ziyarat of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Fifth point, we will look at why oppressors and tyrants fear the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. And finally, we will look at the aim of the ziyarah. What is my aim when I go and stand next to a shrine, next to a grave of an infallible? Firstly, ziyarat al-qubur. Many people think in the Muslim world that the visiting of graves is something that is disallowed in Islam. Yet 90% of Muslim books say that the ziyarah of the graves, there is no harm. In fact, we are recommended to visit these graves. But there's a propaganda machine. Those with loud mouths that speak the loudest have overtaken the name of Islam and said that the ziyarah is not allowed. Whereas if you look at the Shafi'i, the Maliki, and other schools of thought, in their books, in their traditions, they mention many times that the Holy Prophet would do the ziyarah of graves. For example, it is mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam would stand next to Al-Baqi' and say, Assalamu alaykum ya diyara qawm al-mu'mineen. Peace be upon you, O mu'mineen, buried in this Baqi'. And then he would raise his hands in dua and say, Allahumma ighfir li ahli al-Baqi' al-gharqad. Oh Allah, bless those people buried in this Baqi' cemetery. And this is mentioned in all books of Islamic theology. Secondly, we know that the daughter of Rasulullah, who Rasulullah says, Fatima bad'atun minni, Fatima is a part of me. She went to visit who? The grave of her uncle Hamza. And she visited the martyrs of Uhud. And so much so that she made a prayer bead, a tasbih, from the dust, from the grave of Hamza, alayhi salam, Sayyid al-Shuhada. Furthermore, after the demise of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, she would visit the shrine of the Holy Prophet, the grave of the Holy Prophet. She would take from the dust of the grave of the Holy Prophet and she would say, ماذا على من شم تربة أحمد أن لا يشم مدى الزمان غواليا. She would hold this dust and remember her father, Rasulullah, and she would cry over the suffering that has come against her. And of course, all schools of thought agree that Fatima is the daughter of the Holy Prophet. At least if they do not agree that she is an ma'suma and infallible, she will not do anything against the religion of Islam. That's one of the reasons when she goes and asks for Fedek, and again, this is a side point. And the first tells her that I heard Rasulullah say that prophets do not inherit after they pass away. She says, if this was a law, then I would be the first to know. I am the daughter of Rasulullah. There is no law that I do not know about. Just like there is no verse in the Quran that I do not know about. And she mentions this in her famous sermon, Al-Khutbah Al-Fadakiyya. So she went and visited graves of her father, of her uncle. Thirdly, we say the wife of the Prophet, Aisha, also went and visited graves. One day she is coming back towards her house. One of the companions, he sees her, he tells her, where are you coming back from? She says, I am coming back from visiting the grave of my brother, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. Then he tells her, isn't this something that is forbidden? She says, no, by Allah, it's not something that is forbidden. It's something that is recommended. But sadly, we have someone like Samara ibn Jundub. Samara ibn Jundub is the one that narrates this hadith, that visiting graves, if you visit a grave, the person in the grave, and if you cry over him, the person in the grave goes through what? Goes through torture. This hadith is mentioned by Samara ibn Jundub. Samara ibn Jundub is one of those companions, so-called companions. There's many stories about Samara. Samara is the one that took 400,000 dirhams from Muawiyah to change the tafsir of the verse, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ, which was revealed about Imam Ali. He changed the tafsir and he said this was revealed about Abdurrahman ibn Muljam, the killer of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And he changed the tafsir of another verse for another 400,000 dirhams. This same Samara, Rasulullah kicked him out of his presence. They say a companion had a palm tree, had a bustan, had a farm. And in this farm, there was 2 palm trees that belonged to Samara ibn Jundub. And every day, Samara ibn Jundub used to come and say, can I check on my 2 palm trees? And this person would say, go check on your 2 palm trees. And it would annoy him, you know, he has women, he has his family. Every few days, this man comes knocking on your door asking to see his 2 palm trees. He went and complained to Rasulullah. He said, oh, Prophet of Allah, this Samara ibn Jundub, every few days he comes and asks about his palm trees. It's causing havoc. You know, he's coming in the way of my privacy. I have my family, my women. Every day this man comes and asks about his palm trees. So Rasulullah called Samara. He said, Samara, you have 2 palm trees. I will give you 2 palm trees somewhere else. He said, no, I want these palm trees. He said, okay, I will give you for these 2 palm trees 20 palm trees. He said, no, I want these 2 palm trees. Rasulullah said to him, I can guarantee you whatever you want in this life or in the next life. Imagine the Holy Prophet tells you, I'll give you what you want in this life or the akhirah. He said, no, I want these palm trees. Rasulullah looked away from him, looked at the other person, said, take these palm trees out of the soil and throw them in his face. Get out of my face, Samara. This same Samara is the one that narrates the hadith. Imagine, he's the narrator of this hadith, that if you cry over someone in his grave, he gets tortured. So therefore, Aisha says that this hadith was narrated about a non-Muslim who was crying next to a cemetery, and Rasulullah walked past and he saw this non-Muslim crying over his person, his family member that's dying. So Rasulullah said, this person is crying for his dead person, for the person underneath the soil, while the other person is what? Is being tortured. It's only about this incident. But Samara took this hadith, and that's where most of the hadiths about not visiting graves, not crying next to the graves, comes from this mujrim, this Samara ibn Jundub. And read the history books. I don't want to go more into this. There's so many actions about this Samara ibn Jundub. And of course, Sahih books take hadith from Samara ibn Jundub. They leave the likes of Ja'far al-Sadiq and Muhammad al-Baqir, and they take hadiths from Samara ibn Jundub. Therefore, we say that the visiting of graves was done by who? By the Prophet, his wife, his daughter, as well as all other companions. And if this was something that was wrong, the Holy Prophet would have mentioned it. That's the first thing. Second thing, briefly, they say, okay, visiting graves is okay. You build the structure on top. Surah Al-Kahf, Surah chapter 18, verse 21. فَقَالُوا إِبْنُوا عَلَيْهِمْ بُنْيَانًا. They said between themselves, let's what? Let's build a structure on top of the who? The graves of these Ahlul Kahf. Then furthermore, Allah says beautifully, لَنَتَّخِذَنَّ عَلَيْهِمْ مَسْجِدًا. Not only are we going to build the structure, no, we will actually make it into what? A masjid, a place of worship. And today, what are we doing next to the shrines of the Ahlul Bayt? Next to the shrine of Imam Ali, next to the shrine of Imam al-Hussein. We are doing what? Ibadah, salah. Furthermore, when we do salah, if you go, alhamdulillah, if you are granted the ziyarat of Imam al-Hussein, and you do salat, the direction of Qibla is opposite to the direction of the grave. Those that say we worship graves, we are not worshipping. You can easily now go on YouTube, Google Salat al-Maghrib, Isha, whichever salah you want, watch the live feed from the shrine, and you will notice they're facing towards the Qibla. They're not facing towards the shrine. But when people have hiqd in their heart, hatred in their heart, even if you tell them this is white, they'll say no, it's black. Habibi, I see it as white, but Allah has what? Has blinded them. So, let alone, we said that the Holy Prophet, the Ahlul Bayt, as well as the companions visited the actual graves and cemeteries. The actual grave of the Holy Prophet, yani Rasulullah did not know that his grave is what? Is in a mosque, in Masjid al-Nabawi. Where's his grave today? In the masjid. If it was something that was forbidden, Rasulullah would say, no, don't bury me in my house. Bury me somewhere far so no one comes to visit me. He's buried in his house, and today what? Millions of people go and visit his shrine. But they are... Anyway, and sadly, that's why you see Baqi' today in the state that it is now. These graves of these imams, 80, 90, or maybe actually more, 100 years, there was a structure on top of these graves. But when Al Saud came into power, they destroyed the shrines of the Imam of Baqi', and so much so that they even wanted to destroy the shrine of the Holy Prophet to that extent. But alhamdulillah, they did not dare to do this. Now, let's look at the ziyaras of Imam al-Hussein. Now that we have established what? That visiting graves is allowed, and building the structure on top of the grave is allowed through the Quran and through Hadith. Let's look at the ziyarats of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The first ziyarah, and there are many, I'll quickly go through them. The first ziyarah is the ziyarat of Ashura. This is the first ziyarah, and I'll give the reasons for each ziyarah. Number one, we say this was the first ziyarah because the family visited Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura, and I'll come to that at the end, inshallah. And this was the first ziyarah that was very emotional because they're visiting the body of the Mawla while it's not even buried yet. And we have a hadith that says, "Man zara al-Hussein yawma Ashura." And this, subhanallah, when you look at hadiths, each ziyarah has specific hadiths about each occasion. One of the best ziyaras is on the day of Ashura. Man zara al-Hussein yawma Ashura. If you visit Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura, you will be resurrected on the day of judgment like those that were bleeding on the day of Ashura with Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Look at the amount of thawab you get. That the thawab you get is the same thawab as you partaking in the battle of Ashura. Man zara al-Hussein wa bata 'inda al-Hussein. And he stayed the night next to Imam al-Hussein. May Allah give us the opportunity to be next to the Mawla on the night of Ashura, on the day of Ashura. And subhanallah, this year on the day of Ashura, if you are following the news, we noticed that during the Aza of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, this run known as Aza al-Tawarij, where people come shouting Labbayka ya Hussein, some of these people, they got crushed. There was a stampede, and around 35, 34 people passed away. They died while they're coming for the ziyarah of Aba Abdullah. And what better death to have than next to the gate of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. This is the first ziyarah, the ziyarah of Ashura. The second ziyarah is the ziyarah of Al-Arba'in. Ziyarat Al-Arba'in is very special. And because Ziyarat Al-Arba'in is the journey of the return of the head of the Mawla. Because narration says that the head of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam was taken to Kufa and then taken to Sham. And in narrations we have, after Imam al-Sajjad leaves Sham, he asks Yazid, he said, "Can I take the head of my father Abu Abdullah with me? So I return it and bury it with his body." And they go through that journey from Sham until they reach towards Iraq. And Imam al-Sajjad goes towards Karbala, then goes towards Medina to bury his father's head. So it's also a very special ziyarat, Ziyarat al-Arba'in, plus the hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, the great companion of the Holy Prophet, Sahabi. He's a Sahabi of the Holy Prophet. Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Imam al-Sajjad, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. He saw all these Imams. Sallu ala Muhammad wa alihi. He does the ziyarat of Arba'in famously, that he comes towards the shrine of Abu Abdullah. He does the ghusl in Ma al-Furat, then he dresses in new clothes, then he does the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And it is mentioned, narrations say, that he was the first to visit Abu Abdullah al-Hussein on the day of Arba'in, the 40th, 20th of Safar. May Allah give you the ziyarah of Arba'in, inshaAllah, and we'll look at details of ziyarat al-Arba'in. Then we have the 1st of Rajab. Is also recommended to visit Imam al-Hussein. Nusf Rajab, 15th of Rajab, visit Imam al-Hussein. 15th of Sha'ban, we visit Imam al-Hussein. The nights of Qadr, Layali al-Qadr, the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. Look at Mafatih al-Janan, the biggest chapter on ziyarat is on Imam al-Hussein, salamullahi alayhi. Then we have the days of Eid, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, as well as Eid al-Ghadir. Also ziyarah to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, as well as the day of Arafah. The day of Arafah. is very important. Why? And I narrate a story from one of our senior scholars who says, I came across a hadith which says, إن الله ينظر إلى زوار الحسين يوم عرفة قبل أن ينظر إلى حجاج بيت الله في عرفات. That Allah, he came across this hadith, this scholar, that Allah looks at the zuwar of Aba Abdullah in Karbala on the day of Arafah before turning to those in Arafat doing Hajj. I want you to pay attention to this. So he says, it confused me. Hajj is wajib. Ziyarah is mustahab. How can Allah look at the zuwar of Imam al-Hussein, which is a recommended act, and not the Hujjaj? If anything, he should look at the Hujjaj first. So he says there was some confusion within my heart, within my mind about this hadith. Is it sahih? Is it not? He said, I decided to make the intention to meet the Imam of my time. And I went to Masjid-e-Sahla on Tuesdays, 40 Tuesdays in a row. There's a hadith, if you go 40 Tuesdays in a row and you do certain a'mal, and you make the intention to meet the Imam of your time, you will meet him. He says on the 40th visit to Masjid-e-Sahla, I was looking around, and he said this coincided with the 15th of Sha'ban. Randomly, the 40th was the 15th of Sha'ban. Look at the barakah. He said, I was looking around, I couldn't see the Imam. He said, I gave up. He said, I sat down on the pavement. I gave up, I can't see the Imam. I have this question I want to ask him, I'm not seeing him. He says, someone came and sat next to me. He said, Salaamu Alaikum, Sayyid. I said, Wa Alaikum Assalam. He says, usually I get a lot of people coming and asking me questions, fiqh questions. As in now, alhamdulillah, when we see a scholar, we always have a question for them. He says, he sat next to me, he said, Salaamu Alaikum, Sayyid, I have a story to tell you. He said, I didn't really look at him. I said, Wa Alaikum Assalam, tell me your story. He said, there was a king. So this person is telling the scholar the story, pay attention. He said, there was a king. He was out with his ministers and his army hunting in the forests. As darkness began to fall, he got lost and his army left him with their ministers, and he was all by himself, the king. It began to become dark. He's in the middle of a forest. He started to worry about his life. He saw a tent and some fire. He went towards the tent. He saw a woman in the tent. He said, Salaamu Alaikum. She said, Wa Alaikum Assalam. He feared to say that I'm the king. He said, I'm lost. Do you have anything for me to eat? I've been out since the morning and I'm hungry. She said, Wallah, we have one goat or one sheep. I'll give you some milk from the sheep, from the goat. You can drink the milk from the goat until my son comes back. My son is gone out to hunt. If he comes back with something that he has caught, we will cook it and feed you. He says, I said, very well. I sat down. He said, the son came. I looked at him, he was empty-handed. And I was hungry. So I said to him, I'm lost and I'm really hungry. I want something to eat. He said, well, I didn't really catch something today. I didn't really get anything. He said, wait. He went outside. All of a sudden, after a few moments or an hour or so, he bought me a big plate with meat on top of it. He said, I started eating without even thinking. The king. He said, then I looked at him and I said, oh man, where did you get this meat from? He said, the goat that was outside, which you saw, I sacrificed it and I'm giving you the food. I said, but that's the only goat you have. What are you going to do tomorrow? Because you have milk from it. He said, don't worry, Allah is the Raziq. Allah will give us. Allah will keep us sustained. He said, the morning came. When I got up, I realized that this was a noble man. I said to him, I am the king of this area. Now the sun is out. I know my way. I'm going to return to my palace. Whenever you need anything, come to me. I will repay this favor for you. We're paying attention now, inshallah. This man is telling who? The scholar, this story. He says, after a while, this man and his mother, they went through difficulties. So his mother said to him, do you remember when the king came to us and we gave him our goat, we sacrificed it, and we fed him the meat? And he said, if you need anything, come back. Go to him. We haven't eaten for a long time. We're going through difficulty, poverty. Maybe he will repay the favor. He said, very well. He went into the city. He went towards the palace. He told the guards at the palace, tell the king it's so-and-so. He will recognize me. They told the king, so-and-so is outside. He said, of course, let him in. He came in. He looked at the king. The king looked at his ministers. He was sitting with his ministers. He told them, do you remember the time I got lost in the forest and I told you the story that I went to this woman and the man and they gave me the goat? They sacrificed their goat that they had and I ate the goat and I came. They said, yes, we remember. He said, this is the man. What can I do for you, young man? He looked at the king, this young man, and he said, we're going through some difficult time. I was hoping that you sort me out, give me something because we're going through a hard time. The king looked at his ministers and he said, oh ministers, what should I give him back for the goat that he gave me, that he sacrificed? One minister said, give him one goat. He said, no, that's not fair. The next minister, he said, give him 10. He said, that's still not fair. The next person said, give him 100 goats. He said, that's still not fair. They looked at him, they said, what should you give him? He looked at them and he said, I should give him everything that I have. Because on that dark night that I was hungry, he gave me everything that he had. I need to give him everything that I own to repay the favor. The Sayyid says, when he said this story, it woke me up. Then he said to me, Sayyid Aba Abdullah al-Hussein on the day of Ashura gave everything he had for Allah. Don't be surprised that Allah gives him everything back. He says, I looked up to see where this man was. He wasn't there anymore. I realized it was the Imam of my time telling me, don't be surprised that Aba Abdullah, the Zuwar of Imam al-Hussein, get looked at with mercy by Allah before the Hujjaj of Baytullah. That is why one of the most recommended ziyaras is what? Is the ziyarah of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein on the day of Arafah. May Allah give you the opportunity to go. So now that we have realized there are so many ziyaras, included Shab Jum'ah, the night of Thursday, Friday night, that what? The night before Friday that we do the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. We have throughout the year many ziyarat of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. But as I mentioned, Ziyarat al-Arba'in has also a hadith about it. Because as I mentioned, each ziyarah has special circumstances, special narrations. One ziyarah, for example, the 15th of Sha'ban, you are told that if you want to shake the hands of 124,000 prophets, then go for the ziyarah of Hussein on the 15th of Sha'ban. So each ziyarah has a special narration. The ziyarah of Arba'in has a special narration by the 11th Imam, Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salam, who says, Alamatul mu'min khamsa. The signs of the believers are 5. Al-takhattum bil-yamin. وصلاة الواحد والخمسين والتهجر ببسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وتعفير الجبين وزيارة الأربعين. The signs of the believers are 5. Let's quickly look at each one. The first, التختم باليمين. Those that wear a ring on their right hand. And generally, this is the sunnah of the Holy Prophet and the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt, which we follow. As well as it distinguishes the mu'min, the Shia, the follower of Ali, to wear a ring on his right hand. We follow the sunnah of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And sometimes during some periods, you'd recognize another Shia if you see an aqiq on his right finger. That's one of the signs of a believer. That's why Surah 5, Al-Ma'idah, verse 55, إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ راكعون, which speaks about Amir al-Mu'mineen, which Al-Fakhr al-Razi, Sunni scholar, mentions about this verse a hadith from Abu Dhar al-Ghifari, the great companion of Rasulullah, who says that I saw with these eyes, and if I lie, they may be blinded. And I heard with these ears, if I lie, they may become deaf. That I heard Rasulullah in the Holy Prophet, in the Holy Mosque. He was sitting near his mihrab, and news came to him that a beggar came in the masjid and asked for zakat, charity. And Ali ibn Abi Talib, while in salah, in ruku', bowing down in prayer, pointed towards his ring on his right hand, and the beggar took the ring. Rasulullah heard of this. Al-Fakhr al-Razi says, this is not a Shia source. Al-Fakhr al-Razi, who Ibn Taymiyyah says about Fakhr al-Razi's tafsir. He says Fakhr al-Razi's tafsir is all sahih. Everything in that tafsir is sahih. So Abu Dhar says, as soon as Rasulullah heard of this, he raised his hands towards the sky and said, "O Allah, your beloved Prophet Musa asked you, Rabbi shrah li sadri, wa yassir li amri, wahlul uqdata min lisani, yafqahu qawli, waj'al li waziran min ahli, Haruna akhi, ishdud bihi azri." As in Musa asked the Lord, expand my chest and remove the knot from my tongue so my speech is clear, and make my brother my successor. Rasulullah says he raised his hands and he said, "Oh Allah, I ask you the same. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdata min lisani yafqahu qawli waj'al li waziran min ahli aliyun akhi ishdud bihi azri." Abu Dhar says, as soon as Rasulullah put his hands down in dua, Jibreel descended from the heavens and said, "Innama waliyukum Allah wa rasuluh walladhina amanu alladhina yuqimuna as-salata wa yu'tuna az-zakat wa hum raki'un." This is what? Narrated by Al-Fakhr al-Razi. Therefore, the point is what? Amir al-Mu'mineen is wearing what? A ring on his right hand. This is what? The first sign. The second sign is the salat of 51 units. Someone says, "Wallah, only 17 units, I can't pray." The Fajr, I haven't prayed it for a year now. Only in Ramadan, because I have to stay awake to eat, I pray it. Otherwise, even then, I would miss it. It's a sad thing. It's not, it might be something to laugh about, but it's sad. Because the signs of a believer is what? 51 units of prayer. And some people can't even do 17. Therefore, if we really want to be, and it reminds me of the hadith of someone coming to Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam and saying, "Oh Imam, I am from your Shia." The Imam looks at him and says, "Really? That's a high status you've given yourself. That's a high position you've given yourself. Say, I am from your muhibbeen. I am from people that love you." Shia is something that is high. 51 units of prayer, Imam says. And I recommend this for myself, my advice for myself and for others, that at least Salat al-Layl, once a week, if not once a week, once a month, if not once a month, once every 3 months, if not once every 3 months, at least on the night of Ashura or the nights of Qadr, at least once a year pray Salat al-Layl. And it won't take more than 15-20 minutes of your time. We have time to watch hours of TV or hours of I don't know what, but we don't have 20 minutes or 25 minutes to pray Salat al-Layl. So 51 units of prayer. And the Holy Prophet says in a beautiful hadith, and I paraphrase, he says, "Ma bikum, what if you had a stream of river outside your house and you wash your body 5 times a day? Will there be any dirt on your body?" Salah is like that river outside your house. You purify not your body, your soul with salah. Therefore, salah is what? The second sign of believer. The third is also another that distinguishes the followers of Ali. That of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in salat. Now in salat, Subuh, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, you have to, when you read Surah Al-Hamd and the second surah, to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim out loudly. And this is something that only the followers of the Ahlul Bayt do. Except Al-Fakhr al-Razi, who is also a Sunni scholar. He says, when it comes to this, I follow Ali. They said, why? He said, because Aliyun ma'al haq wal haqqu ma'a Ali yaduru hawlahu haythu ma dar. Ali is with the truth and the truth is with Ali. So much so that truth surrounds Ali ibn Abi Talib. There is a time when I go looking for the truth. But there is another time when truth is looking for me. And that's for Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, said out loudly, is the third sign. The fourth sign is the sign of Jabeen. What is that? That you get from the sajda on the turba. And we are told that we must do, all our fuqaha, our scholars, may Allah lengthen their life, say that our sujood needs to be on something that is not eaten or worn. And furthermore, we are told what? To pray on the turba, on clay, on dust. Many hadiths in Bukhari speak about the Holy Prophet when he got up from prostration, there was mud marks on his face. That's why the Quran says, Sima'ahum fi wujuhihim. When it speaks about the mu'mineen, it says the sign of Iman is in their face. One of those signs is what? Is this part of your forehead from sujood. And we say, oh Allah, look, it brings us, it has a deeper meaning than just praying on this. First of all, medically you can check that usually we have negative ions in our body that only come out through where? Through hair. There's a concept that's called grounding or earthing. You can search it up. Grounding or earthing. That takes any negativity out of your body when what? When you do earthing. When your body touches what? The clay, the soil. Now you can Google it and you'll see non-Muslims speaking about this. And subhanAllah, they say the source of this negativity to come out is from where? From your forehead. There's a deeper meaning to this. And we say, oh Allah, that this forehead, this face that I look after every day, I place it on dust. Oh Allah, be merciful on me when I place my cheeks on the dust in my grave. When I'm in my grave, that's why we are recommended what? To place some dust of Karbala when someone is being buried. That's the fourth sign. The fifth sign is Ziyaratul Arba'in. As I mentioned, this ziyarah is special. Why? Because it follows the route of the Sabaya. It follows the route of Zainab and Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. The route of the family of Rasulullah. The route of the holy head of Imam Abdullah al-Hussein. It has an emotional side in it. It has that pain. You feel the pain, the sorrow of Aba Abdullah's family returning to the body of the Mawla. That's why today you see millions of people what? They go towards the ziyarah of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Millions! From Najaf, from Basra. Recently I saw people even on the 1st of Muharram, by the way. Nearly 2-3 weeks ago, I saw people started their walk from Mashhad al-Muqaddasa. Mashhad al-Rada alayhi salam. They started walking towards Karbala because it takes them around 50 days. 2 months nearly. They started walking from Mashhad. And we have one of our greatest scholars, I believe, Sayyid Al-Sabzawari or Burjurdi. He walked from Mashhad all the way to Karbala. One or the other, I'm not sure the name right now, but he walked all the way to Karbala. And this ziyarah of Arba'in, it connects you with the Imam. It connects you with fellow Shi'as. Because as I mentioned, what are these? They're signs of who? Of the believers, of the followers of Ali. So when you go in unity and you see around you all these people walking around you saying, Labbayka ya Hussein, it builds that sense of unity. It builds that sense of power. It builds that sense of love for Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Next point, why do the oppressors fear this? Because from the time of the killing of Aba Abdullah, why do you think they did not bury him? Why did Umar ibn Sa'd bury his army, the people that were killed, but did not bury Hussein. Why? Because he wanted to obliterate the remembrance of Hussein. He wanted to remove Hussein's memory from what? From the people. That's what their aim. They feared Hussein because what? Hussein says no to racism. Hussein says no to oppression. Hussein says no to tyranny. Hussein says yes to revolting against the dictator of your time. And today around the world, any person that wants to revolt will look at the school of Abu Abdullah. The likes of Ayatollah Sheikh Nimr. When he says that even if it means Al Saud kill me, I will say the truth. And what, last year, 2 years ago, they killed him. He said, it doesn't matter. I follow my Mawla Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, who says, ألا إن الدعي ابن الدعي قد ركز بين اثنتين بين السلة والذلة وهيهات من الذلة. The da'i, son of the da'i, has given me two choices. Either to die or what? To be humiliated. And hayhat min الذلة. Therefore what? The oppressors, the tyrants, they want to remove this memory from the people. They want people not even to think. They want to control people's minds, people thinking. That's what the media does today. Today the media, what does it want to do? It wants to control people's thinking, people's minds, not to even be able to think freely. But the school of Abu Abdullah allows you to think freely, allow to say that I have dignity, I have karama. So the oppressors, the tyrants, they do not want the likes of Hussein. They don't want the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. That's why from the time of the Umayyads till 20 years ago, till Saddam's time, they wanted to what? Stop the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. Al-Mutawakkil, what does he do? He says anyone that comes to visit Imam al-Hussein has to have his right hand cut. People would come, they would offer their right hand. Now me and you today, it's easy. You book a flight online, you go for ziyarah. It's easy for me and you. And we still, some of us, neglect the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah. People would give their right hand. They would cut their hand, they would go for ziyarah. So much so that they say one day a woman came to do the ziyarah. They said, give us your right hand. She gave her left hand. They said, no, we want your right hand. She said, you cut my right hand last year. Al-Mutawakkil said, wow, what kind of people are these that they're coming for ziyarah even after we cut their hand? He said, then out of every 10, we kill one person. They would still come. Then he said, out of every 10, we kill 9. Only one comes. And they would still come. So much so that he said to his army, from the Furat, dig a hole, let the water from the Furat come towards the grave of Abu Abdullah and destroy the grave. Put a stream of water, let it come and destroy the grave of Imam Hussein. And the famous story says that the water came and it's starting to do what? Tawaf, har al-ma'. It diverted around the grave. That's why there's an area around the grave called what? Al-Ha'ir al-Husayni. That's where we are told the dua is accepted. So they fear Abu Abdullah. Saddam's time. 2003 he fell. Not a long time ago. So it's not in our lifetime. He stopped the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. The last time people were allowed to go publicly for Arba'in was in 1977, where Saddam bought tanks, helicopters, an army to stop people from what? Visiting Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And the first to be martyred on that day was a young boy aged 15 from the Mayali family. Famous story. Anyone in Najaf will know him. When they shot him, his shirt was filled with blood. He took off his shirt and he gave it to the others. And he said, continue the walk to Abu Abdullah. I'll take this shirt and throw it on the shrine. Show it on the darih of Abu Abdullah. Say, I died, I couldn't make it. Blood was spilt for the tariq of Abu Abdullah, for the road to be built for millions of people now today to go for the ziyarah. Because what? It puts fear in the hearts of the oppressors. So much so that we have so many hadiths about the ziyarah of Imam Abdullah al-Hussein. That Imam al-Sadiq, Muawiyah ibn Wahab, sees Imam al-Sadiq in sujood. one of the companions of Imam al-Sadiq. He sees him in sujood. The famous hadith says that while he was in sujood, he read this dua. He said, Ya man khassana bil karama wa khassana bil wasiyya wa wa'adana bil shafa'a اغفر لي ولإخواني ولزوار جدي أبا عبد الله الحسين. Imam al-Sadiq makes dua after salah for the zuwar of Aba Abdullah. He makes dua. If you go for ziyarah, Imam al-Sadiq is making dua for you. Another hadith, Haneen ibn al-Sadir, companion of the Imam, comes to the Imam. Haneen is from Hannan ibn al-Sadir, comes to the Imam. He is from Iraq. Imam's in Medina. Imam tells him, Hannan, أتزور الحسين كل يوم? Do you go to the ziyarat of Imam al-Hussein every day? He said, لا يا Imam. He said, أتزور الحسين كل أسبوع? At least once a week do you visit Hussein? He said, لا يا ابن رسول الله. He said, أتزور الحسين مرة في الشهر? Once a month do you visit Imam al-Hussein? He said, لا يا ابن رسول الله. He said, أتزور الحسين مرة في السنة? Do you at least visit him once a year? He said, لعل ذلك. Maybe, yes. I probably visit the Imam once a year. You know what the Imam responded to him? He said, ما أجفاكم بالحسين. How stingy are you with Aba Abdullah? You've neglected one of the signs of Allah, the sha'ira of Allah. Then Hannan says, oh Imam, it's difficult for me to visit Imam because of the long distance. Imam tells him, if you cannot visit him physically, then go on top of your roof, the highest point in your house. Then look towards Karbala and say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. That's your ziyarah. Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, Abu Hisham, companion. And look, there are many. I'm just picking one or two hadiths about the ziyarah. There are many. Comes to visit the Imam, Abu Hisham, companion of the Imam, the 10th Imam. Imam lived in whose time? The time of Al-Mutawakkil. Al-Mutawakkil, we said what? Used to kill people for visiting the Imam. Saving your life is what? It's something that is wajib, ahsant. But ziyarah is what? Mustahab, recommended. Imam, if he sees people are getting killed, he should do what? He should stop them. So you are what? Putting your life on the line. There is no hadith from any of the Imams saying stop the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. No hadith. No hadith. So much so that during his time, Imam al-Hadi, Abu Hisham comes to meet him. He says, I saw the Imam was suffering from some kind of illness. He was suffering. As I left, he took a bag of gold, coins, and he gave it to me. He said, find someone that is going towards Iraq and give him this bag of gold and tell him to do dua for Hadi. Tell him to do dua for Ali al-Hadi. Let him do dua for me. Abu Hisham says, I took this bag of gold. I went outside. I found another companion. I said, take these coins, go and make dua for Imam in Karbala. He said, the man looked at me and he said, hold on, isn't the Imam the son of Rasulullah? He said, yes. He said, isn't the Imam the Hujjah of his time? He said, yes. He said, let him do dua. Why do I need to go to Karbala to make dua? Let him make dua for himself. He says, Abu Hisham says, it raised a question in my head. I came back to the Imam. I said, Imam, anta hujjatullah. And you are the son of Rasulullah. You hold the blood of Rasulullah in you, the flesh of Rasulullah. Why don't you make dua? He looked at me with tears coming down his eyes. He said, Ya Abu Hisham, inna lillah amakin yahubbu an yud'a biha. There are certain places that Allah answers du'as. And one of those places is Karbala. Someone might say, why? Why is this? You guys are exaggerating. Why do I need to do Hajj near the Kaaba? Why don't I build a black box here and do Kaaba in Washington? Or in my city? Why do I need to go what? All the way towards the Kaaba to do Hajj? Why is dua accepted in Laylatul Qadr? Why is it accepted all the nights? It is accepted all the nights. But what? Laylatul Qadr more. There are certain locations, certain times that what? That dua is highly accepted and recommended. Why can't I do Hajj in Rajab? Why is Hajj has to be in Dhul Hijjah? Allah decided for this. Allah wants this. Allah wants you to go through the trouble and stand next to the shrine of Aba Abdullah and hold on to the darih and say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, and ask for your dua underneath the dome of Hussein. What's the secret in this? The secret is because Hussein, as I mentioned, takes you to Allah. Hussein gave everything to Allah. خذ حتى ترضى. Take, oh Allah. He never complained. He never said, oh, why is my 6 months infant has to die? Why my Ali al-Akbar أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا إلى رسول الله. إذا اشتقنا إلى رؤية رسول الله. If we wanted to see Rasulullah, we would look at the beautiful face of Ali al-Akbar. That's why we say the ziyarah of Hussein has so many merits. And the first ziyarah of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein is the ziyarah of Ashura. That's the first ziyarah of Aba Abdullah. Salama narrates that one day I came to open the door for Rasulullah. I saw Rasulullah was full of dust. I looked at him, I said, Rasulullah, what's happened to you? He tells her, Salama, I just have returned from the land of Karbala, the land where the blood of my grandson Hussein was spilt. Then he gave her a dust from Karbala, and he said, Salama, if you see this blood turn into blood, then know that my son Hussein was killed. All the prophets visited Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. From Adam to Khatam. He inherited that love of every prophet, the knowledge of every prophet. That's why you stand there and you say, Assalamu alayka ya waritha Adam safwatillah. Assalamu alayka ya waritha Nuh nabiyullah. السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله. السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله. السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا وارث محمد ولي الله. السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين ولي الله. Every prophet visited Karbala and cried for Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. The ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein is recommended. May Allah give you the chance to visit Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, inshallah. The first ziyarah of Aba Abdullah was on the night of Ashura, when Sayyida Zainab went towards the body of the Mawla. She went towards the body of her beloved brother Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. She stood next to the body. What body was that? It's that body that was filled with arrows. She screamed out, Ya Rasulallah, هذا حسينك بالعراء محزوز الرأس من القفا مسلوب العمامة والردى. Oh Rasulullah, this is your beloved Hussein on the plains of Karbala. His turban has been taken off. His head has been severed from his body. I say, O mu'mineen, O mu'minat, that Aba Abdullah al-Hussein in his life, everyone kissed him on his neck. Rasulullah kissed Hussein on his neck. Fatima kissed Hussein on his neck. Ali alayhi salam kissed Hussein on his neck. Hassan kissed Aba Abdullah on his neck. And he said, La yawm ka yawmuka Aba Abdullah. But Zainab alayhi salam, she kissed Aba Abdullah in a location that no one has kissed him. You know what location that is? When she came to do ziyarat of Aba Abdullah, she saw a body without a head. She kissed the jugular vein of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Then she raised the body. She looked towards the sky. Then she said, Allahumma taqabbal minna hadha al-qurban. It is narrated that Zainab alayha salam with Sakina, with Ruqayya, they left the body of Aba Abdullah. They left Hussein for 40 days. They return when? They return on the 20th of Safar. But it is narrated, this event is described by beautiful lines of poetry which say that when she returned, Imam al-Hussein would say, "Oh my beloved sister, I see all my daughters have returned except Ruqayya, my beloved. Where is my beloved daughter? You know where his daughter is? Let me take you to Sham. Let me take you to the Kharaba." It is narrated that in the middle of the night, Ruqayya wakes up. She says, "I saw my father Hussein in my dream. أريد أبي أبا عبد الله. I want my father Hussein." The women start to cry. Yazid wakes up in his palace. He says, "Why are the women crying?" They say, "The daughter of Aba Abdullah, she has woken up. She wants her father Hussein." He says, "Take the head of the father to her." They bring a plate, they cover it. When Ruqayya looks at this plate, she says, "I did not ask for food. I asked for my father Hussein." They bring this plate in front of this 3-year-old daughter of Hussein. When they remove the cover, it's the head of the Mawla Aba Abdullah. She throws herself on the head of the Mawla. She says, "Abata, Abata, man alladhi qata'a ra'sak?" "Oh Father Hussein, who has done this to you?" She looks at her father's lips. Those lips are dry. Those lips have blood on them. Those same lips Rasulullah would kiss. Those same lips Rasulullah would hold. Shimr would bring a stick and he would poke the lips of Aba Abdullah. It is narrated that Ruqayya's voice dies down. Then Zainab says, "Finally she has gone to sleep maybe." Imam al-Sajjad says, "Amma Zainab, Amma Zainab, take my sister from my father's head, for her soul has departed from her body." Wa Ruqayya wa imama wa mazluma وعطشانا. يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشفي صدر الحسين بظهور الحجة. مأتم الحسين. حسين 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 حسين
Jabi Karbal, Shabi Sarwar, oh our hero, Ali Akbar. Zabi Karbal, Shabi Sarwar, oh our hero, Ali Akbar. Zabi Karbal, Shabi Sarwar, oh our hero, Ali Akbar. In every Ashura-e-Muharram, for Leela is our matam. In every Ashura-e-Muharram, for Leela is our matam. For Leela is our matam. For Leela is our matam. Oh Bibi, share your azim noha, your dastane Ali Akbar. Oh Bibi, share your azim noha, your dastane Ali Akbar. Zabi Karbal, Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Oh, can you hear La ilaha illallah, the call of Akbar by the name of Allah? Oh, can you hear La ilaha illallah, the call of Akbar by the name of Allah? The call of Akbar by the name of Allah. The call of Akbar by the name of Allah. Reverberating in every era is that Azadari Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Hussein says, Ya Ali taqaddam, oh my beloved Shabi Khatam. Oh my Hussein says, Ya Ali taqaddam, oh my beloved Shabi Khatam. Oh my beloved Shabi Khatam, oh my beloved Shabi Khatam. Fida upon you, O Ibn Zahra, Hazar Jane Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Alayka minni salam Baba, this is the farewell kalam Baba. Alayka minni salam Baba, this is the farewell kalam Baba. This is the farewell kalam Baba. This is the farewell kalam Baba. For we are reaching the culmination of Imtihane Ali Akbar. For we are reaching the culmination of Imtihane Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Hussein whispers in affirmation, you have accomplished your destination. Hussein whispers in affirmation, you have accomplished your destination. You have accomplished your destination. You have accomplished your destination. But never ending for Ibn Zahra is Imtihan Ali Akbar. But never ending for Ibn Zahra is Imtihan Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Amala you carry, Amala you carried Akbar, a feature greater than Fatah Khaybar. Our Mawla you carried Akbar, a feature greater than Fatah Khaybar. A feature greater than Fatah Khaybar. A feature greater than Fatah Khaybar. Hussein still has to bury Asghar on Khane Ali Akbar. Hussein still has to bury Asghar on Khane Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. Zabi Kerbal Shabi Server, oh our hero Ali Akbar. They violated the Son of David, the youth of Yusuf, the face of Ahmad. They violated the Son of David, the youth of Yusuf, the face of Ahmad. The youth of Yusuf, the face of Ahmad. The youth of the face of Ahmad. Oh, what a disgrace for the Ummah, where the Catalan Ali Akbar. Oh, what a disgrace for the Ummah, where Catalan Ali Akbar. Zabi Karbal, Shabi Serber. Oh, our hero Ali Akbar. Zabi Karbal, Shabi Serber. Oh, our hero Ali Akbar. He is a model and inspiration for every conscience in every nation. He is a model and inspiration for every conscience in every nation. For every conscience in every nation. For every conscience in every nation. So come together today to enter the Caravan Ali Akbar. Zabi Karbal Shabi Serber. Oh, our hero Ali Akbar. Zabi Karbal Shabi Serber. Oh, our hero Ali Akbar.
Hussein, 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 Allahumma